Welcome everybody to another episode of interviewing coffee roasters on site. Here we got Justin from Kuki Coffee over at Burleigh, just in the Gold Coast. Beautiful area, not so beautiful today.
No, that's all good, yeah.
Justin's one of the very few air roasters here in Queensland. So we're going to find out a little bit more about him. And thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in.
So Justin, before we start, we always want to know about you first.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about who Justin is.
Yeah, look, I'm just a family man, got 2 kids, and just happy living life on the Gold Coast. Had a background with hospitality. My dad was in hospitality, and so I've always sort of gravitated towards it without knowing it, and now found quite a nice little career in it as well, which is good.
Is Kookie.
Yes.
What does Kookie mean?
Means in Japanese air. It also means situation and atmosphere. And around those things is where we came together with what we do with our roasting. So as you mentioned, we air roast our coffee, so that's one massive component to it. But then we also like to think about the atmosphere that drinking your coffee and having your coffee creates, and that's also brought in right into the meaning of Kookie for us as well. And it helps that it's a nice 4-letter word that sounds a bit different, sounds a bit fun. Kookie also can mean silly and different, and I think we like to do things a little bit differently and keep the mood up.
Why Japanese, bro?
I think Japanese I've always resonated with the country, with the traditions that they have, and
like
that
the culture and stuff.
The culture and their pursuit for excellence with refining crafts and really keeping it simple and not overcomplicating things, I felt was a really nice way to sort of connect what you can do with coffee with not making it overcomplicated and just doing less is more to create nice flavors and nice brews.
Coffee in Japan is big. Hey, it's massive now.
Oh, and it's growing, yeah, all through Asia, through Hong Kong and Korea. The coffee scene is just getting bigger and bigger.
It's huge. Tell us, what is your best coffee experience?
I think there's a handful of them. Whether the best one was just one I randomly had when I'm setting up my espresso in the morning, and it's just everything's come together. The sun's coming up, the coffee's dialed in perfectly, and it's the right temperature straight away. I think those over the years have been my best coffee experiences. But then whenever I've gone out, I think it's the ones that sort of really catch you off guard, where that first sip of coffee has just hit all those really unique flavors. The bitterness and the acidity have married together really nicely, and when you're not expecting it or you haven't gone out to find it, but then it just is delivered to you, that's been when they are the best. The one that I do remember was down at is it Custard Canteen down on the Tweed Coast there. They one day just...
Custard Canteen?
Yes,
okay.
yeah. They just made a great coffee when I was having my breakfast there, and I just first sip just knew that it was on.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Custard Canteen, all right.
Yeah.
I gotta go check that out.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Really
down
good.
in Tweed, yeah?
Yes.
How many air roasters are there in Queensland?
There's a small handful of us now, but on the Gold Coast, I'm pretty sure we are the only ones with the air roasting Chinook system.
Okay, so why did you choose to go become an air roaster?
Firstly, it was a point of difference, a way to separate us from the rest of the coffee roasting community. But then the more that I've looked into it and its practices, and then also the proof in the pudding, you could say, it has just been a consistently nice way to roast coffee. It's efficient, consistent, reliable. The energy consumption is really good on it as well. And for my customers, their product has been consistent, roast after roast, batch after batch. So it's really...
And that's what you want, hey?
Exactly. And it's really just been something that I can't fault. Not to saying that traditional roasting and other machines aren't serving their purpose, but I've found a really nice product in this, and I'm going to just keep pursuing it and keep following up and seeing what can come of it in the future.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and it's the difference in the way the heat is transferred to the coffee bean. I think as roasters, we're always looking for that best marriage of heat, time, and how that is affecting the coffee bean to get the flavors out of it, whether it's for a espresso or filter, and doing it through an air transfer is something that can be done and can get done really efficiently and really with great success. So yeah, it's really
awesome.
nice.
Because you do have a lot of customers in the coffee, like the coffee shops and so forth.
Yeah.
What is one question that they regularly ask you?
Well, I think like they want to, I don't know if it's the question they ask, but it's the one I feel like I know they want to service, which is how can they give the most consistent coffee experience to their customer. I think as a wholesaler of coffee beans, I do think beyond just the cafe or the restaurant as a customer. I think about their customers as well, and essentially my product is going all the way through the line, and to make sure that they can deliver that to them efficiently, consistently as well, and with ease, and not have to have too many headaches. So I try to work with them to go, well, let's simplify this. Let's make sure your Saturday barista can do the same as your Tuesday afternoon barista, that can do the same as your Friday morning barista. And let's work on giving you the tools, if they are equipment, or the training that can make that happen.
Yep.
Because that's, at the end of the day, we're all, as coffee roasters, producing really nice coffee. That's sort of a given these days. I think it's now about how do we help, again, create the atmosphere around that coffee experience. And that's, again, what Kookie's all about, creating that atmosphere.
Cool. So you do that for your wholesale accounts?
Yeah, so like we're always offering training and advice. And again, I sort of say to them, look, no question's a stupid question, because I think when it comes down to coffee, again, less is more. I am really trying to create coffee that is easy to extract full flavor from. I sort of also work on this trifecta of points for our coffee. So we want to make sure that it's strong in terms of flavor, whether it's holding up in the milk, or that when you drink it, you know you're drinking coffee. You want to make sure it's balanced, that there's that nice level of bitterness and acidity that will create a flavor profile. And then you want to have a nice aftertaste. And that's really the 3 points of what we try to do here at Kookie. And I think when you just focus on those 3, everything else falls into place. We don't need to get too deep into it has tastes of berry or cherry or milk chocolate, because those things are going to come and they're going to change and they're going to be in every coffee bean. But I think if you can know that your customer is going to go, that coffee was great from the first to the last sip and I want more, that's winning.
You've done the job.
Yeah. And again, as I said, we try to do that, whether it's through helping them find the right equipment for their store, whether they're a really busy shop and they need a multiple group head machine, or if they're just a smaller takeaway caravan and they just need something that's going to be able to pump out consistently on the weekends only. Just helping them navigate through those fields, because there is a lot of machines out there, but there's obviously the right one for the right situation.
Okay, so you did say something that's kind of touched me a little bit. You said less is more, and the reason I want to ask that is because we do sell a lot of coffee to home baristas.
Yes.
Okay, so what advice would you give to them?
Well, the first one I do give, and it sounds a little bit contradictory to that less is more, but it definitely plays into making better coffee, is having a set of scales.
I'm a believer in that too.
Yeah, I always tell them, look, if you're using a little Breville home machine, just try to make sure when you're making your coffee, if it's espresso based, just have the same ratio of coffee beans to start with. If you're grinding beans each morning, but then you're changing how much you're using, you're never going to have a consistent espresso, and you're never going to know why one was better than the other. So I always say to them, weigh out how much you're putting in, and keep that as a constant. Then from there, you know what you need to change, whether it's the grind setting or if you've been putting too much in or not enough in, and then that will help you find a nice consistent coffee day after day. And even though I ask them to add a step to their process, it eventually becomes less of a chore because they're not having to change each morning and figure out why their coffee wasn't as nice,
Yeah.
or settling for a bad coffee because they can't be bothered to remake it. But if you just weigh that coffee in, it will always be a better experience after. And it makes it easy to make changes on the fly and not feel like you're so overwhelmed with what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's always been my biggest thing. And then again, I have coffee that I know suits home machines better than a commercial machine.
Yeah.
Diving deep into the science of like particle solubility and how much pressure a commercial machine will produce versus how much a home espresso machine will use, and knowing that those semi-darker roasts are going to create, as I said in that triangle, more flavour, better balance and a good aftertaste versus something that's maybe too lightly roasted and isn't going to be able to produce the high yield that we know we can get from a commercial espresso machine that's running off a lot more power with a lot more pressure.
Crazy, because I know that pressure makes such a difference on the coffee extraction coming out there.
Well, and look, there are a lot of factors that come into it, and this is where I know as a roaster and as other roasters do, you can rely on your local roaster to help you navigate the best way to find your coffee, whether you're having it at home, if you are just wanting to look for a nice coffee brew, versus as well someone who is right into coffee, that's happy to experiment and get coffee and change ratios and everything. But for those people that are just wanting to have a nice one, I think trust your local roaster to lead you down the right way to get a...
What do you mean by trust? Is that because you guys have like a recipe and extraction
recipes?
Trust that extraction recipe.
and their roast that they recommend for you. It might seem like they say, oh, this is our dark roast or this is our light roast, but they know that if you follow a few steps, you will be able to get a really nice cup of coffee out of it. And I think there's a lot of perceptions from so many years of like those really dark, oily Italian roasts versus what maybe gets done down in Melbourne, which is super light, super fruity, high acidity. There's a different brew and a different recipe for every type of coffee.
Yeah.
And asking the questions of what you want as a customer to your roaster, he or she will definitely lead you down the right path.
No problems. Well, thanks, Justin. You know what I just realised?
Yes.
Because normally we drink a coffee when we're having a chat.
Oh,
We don't even have a coffee this time.
I'll grab you one.
No.
Just wait there. No, wait there.
Run, Forrest. So I think he's getting me a cold brew.
So that's an oat caramel,
Ooh.
and this one will just be a black coffee for me.
Oh, babe, you gotta try this.
Yes.
You want to?
Yeah, go for it.
It's really refreshing, especially when it's Okay, so last question.
Yes.
Okay, so now where can people find you? I mean, besides Benighted.
Yep. And obviously I sell online and here in the warehouse Monday to Friday.
So what's your address here?
We're 2/40 Ern Harley Drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they can find you on Instagram. What's your Instagram account?
Instagram's Kuki Coffee.
Kuki Coffee.
Yeah, nice and simple.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. This is awesome. Thanks again, man.
Too easy.
Thanks for grabbing the coffee.
Yeah,
for me,
look,
man.
I thought we needed to have something.
I fully
after all that.
forgot as well, man. Like,
Yeah.
normally, thanks everybody for watching as well. There's another episode of Coffee Roasters on Site. So glad that Justin got to give us a chance to talk to him for now. And his coffee is really nice, guys. Normally we start smashing some coffees through the machine, so we might even do that a little bit later.
Yep.
If we've got time, eh? But thanks again, Justin,
No
for this, man. I
problem.
appreciate it.
Too easy.